One of my favorite dolls in the auction. I love this doll. I often say to people, okay, if I were a collector, and we have this policy in our company, you can't be a collector because it's kind of, you need to be more neutral to the buyers and sellers, so we really work for them. So I don't collect dolls, but they're in my hands while they're here being prepared and ready for auction and cataloged. And I'm plenty of time to love this doll while she's here. Ranks as one of my all-time favorites. I love her. She is, you think she's going to be some exotic maker, but she's EB. She's from the Berwa firm. Now understand that Berwa was a porcelain company. And so Berwa made dolls that were commissioned for them for many, many makers. And so sometimes the manufacturer or the maker would bring in their own design, their own mold, and Berwa would pour it. Sometimes he would utilize variations of existing molds that he had, but always made on commission for other people and not things that were marketed by him. This portrait of an Asian lady is absolutely spectacular. Look at her matching bisque hands. Look at her gorgeous amber complexion. I've turned it around so you're able to see her absolutely flawless complexion all the way down. It is a swivel head, and she has a bisque shoulder plate. She has a kid gusset jointed body, and this costume is it's just absolutely amazing, including the fitted cap to her head with the long queue coming down, extending down below, the tassels on the headdress, absolutely spectacular. This model was made about 1865, and it's my opinion that it was probably done to be presented at the 1867 Paris International Exposition. We started our talk about the expositions, and I continue it here with this doll. Those expositions at that time, Japan was just starting to open up. A lot of Asia was opening up. Wealthy travelers were coming in from all over the world. There was this heightened interest in anything Asian. And so not only to appeal to the international travelers, but also to appeal to French people who were sophisticated in looking at cultures from other places. So this would have been an outstanding example, likely a very specially commissioned piece, because I have never seen another one. Absolutely outstanding. Also, I want to introduce you to the wonderful dolls that likely were also exhibited at that exhibition. And this is the wonderful doll by Dehors. In 1867, Auguste Dehors patented, or deposed, in France you don't patent, you depose, deposed his system for the articulation of the head. The classic French fashion head, swivel, side, side, sometimes all the way around in this kind of weird fashion, until they found a way to only make it go 90 degrees. But at any rate, Dehors said, well, that's not how people's heads are. They nod, they tilt, they do all sorts of expressive things. So he deposed a system, the Dehors system, and it's done in the articulation of the neck, that allowed the head to tip back and forward, to tilt side to side. And sometimes his system was used on a more classic face, a more standard face, and sometimes it was used on a really stunning portrait model face that he made exclusively. And here is such an example. This is an absolutely stunning, stunning doll. One of the things I wanted you to notice when I started putting this talk together, I thought, oh, maybe I'll just do a whole segment on smiling dolls, because we always talk about the smiling face brew, and I'm going to show you one in a minute. But I started to realize how many other dolls at this time were made with smiling faces, sometimes broad beaming smiles, sometimes very poignant, enigmatic smiles, sometimes just a hint of a smile. It's achieved very often simply by the painting, but also sometimes by actual modeling of an up-tilted lip corner. But here is this very, very beautiful lady. I'm going to turn her around. She has her original wig. She's absolutely gorgeous. Has her original costume, which admittedly has some wear to the silk, but is pretty stunning just the same. I love her hair with the little embedded berries. So that an example by Dehors. And then here is another one. This is a very lovely one with a different face, but a little, kind of a little smirky smile on this one. But she, again, very, very beautiful, having the Dehors head with a tilting and the side to side to nodding. Very, very beautiful doll. In the catalog, you'll see the attribution to the collections that these came from. And in many cases, since some of the collectors had been coming to our important estate auctions over the years, I've been able to give you like from the original collection of X and X, and then from the most recent owner's collection. So I think as collectors are more and more wishing to try to trace provenances of dolls in whose hands they've been, this is an extra bonus, and this is a really good example of one of those dolls. And then a third example with a slightly different face, and this one also by Dehors with a very distinctive neck articulation, tilting to and fro, tilting side to side, and swiveling, of course. We have this beautiful doll. I love her costume. It's like, it's sort of, it's cotton, so it couldn't have been a dress-up dress, but man, they went for all-out style, even in their simple dresses that they were, I don't know where they were going, for a summer outing or something. She's very nice. She has wooden arms, which give her extra posability, and her kid gusset jointed body. Very beautiful. And then I want to show you some other fashions. There are probably 25 fashions in this auction, so I picked some out to show you that I think have special features that are worth noting. This is a very, very interesting doll because this has a patent design on the head from the Laverne and Company, and I'm going to lift the wig slightly on the side so you can see the cutout of where the hair wig was originally inserted into the wig. And if you look, we're showing you the design of the actual patent that was registered by Laverne, so you can see that this was an actual design that was made. And in his patent, Laverne wrote about the idea that he wanted to, but just putting a wig on top of a head never actually captured the way hair would go when it was growing from the roots of the head. So he wanted to design a system that would be more realistic. And so that was what his patent was based upon. Let's see if we can see it from the other side as well. You can actually see the way this goes. Now, what actually did happen was over a period of time, the hair that he would have that was inserted tended to wear away, and then people ended up putting wigs on top of it anyway. And that's what has happened here. And you can see the back of the head. I want to show you the markings because they're easy to access. And you can see that the SGDG, you even see the registry marking on the back of the head. Very, very distinctive, almost like an androgynous facial modeling on this doll. It could be costumed, I think, either as a man or a woman would work very well. And again, beautiful ability to tilt the head in many ways, and a very wonderful body with very, very distinctive. These are bisque arms above the elbows, and the one on her right is actually modeled to be completely curved or bent at the elbow. So very, very distinctive, and wearing a superb, superb early costume, and I'll turn her completely around now so you can see that as well. The wig didn't work for you, lady. Okay, and then we talked about smiling dolls, and here is the classic of classics, the smiling Brew poupee, known variously as the Mona Lisa Hooray, the Mona Lisa Brew, or the Smiling Brew. Nevertheless, the particular model was registered by Leon Casimir Brew in the French courts, and actually existing in the French archives today is a wax model of this particular head, designed to be made in bisque or actually in other materials as well. But he did that design. And he also designed what she has, the all wooden body. Bru's wooden body, articulated body, is different than any other French doll makers. It was completely based on the artist mannequins that had been made as early as the 1700s, with the ball swivel waist and very unique kind of jointing. And that's what she has. And look, she even has her wonderful matching parasol that goes with her lovely costume. Smiling face. The body was registered in 1867 and the head in 1872, which is always curious because that was the year that the Empress Eugenie was deposed from the French courts and escaped to England, where she lived out her life. So that's why I always kind of take a little argument about whether this was based on her or not. I wanted to also tell you that the smiling face by the Bru was made for actually a number of years, although not in this refined way. It was a more simplistic type of face. And then I have two other just really classic poupées. When you think of French poupées, these are the ones you tend to think of. They have especially beautiful, beautiful faces. And who do you like better? I don't know. You might choose either one. I'm not going to tell you which one I like better, but I have my preference on one of these. So look at this one with her. The eyes are absolutely splendid. Original wig. Let me turn it around so you can see. When you can find original wigs that still have their original coiffure, this is so grand. Original earrings, and let me tip her forward. I want you to see the braid on the front of her hair. Okay, and she has a very firm kid body and a wonderful antique costume. And her partner has very, very beautiful eyes. She's a more serious woman. She has her original wig as well. And she's all fitted out in her navy blue woolen walking suit with fringe detail and braid, a wonderful early bonnet. I'm going to tip it so you can see the top of her bonnet. I'm so happy that French poupées are having a real popularity with collectors these days, because I think they've been so underappreciated over the years in favor of the bébés, and they're just such wonderful dolls. You can make such fabulous displays with them. You can put them in arrangements with automatons, and it's very interactive and just wonderful to have. Well, we've shown you some of the beautiful bisque poupées, but before France was making their poupées in porcelain or bisque, they were making them in paper mache. And I have some wonderful examples here to show you, mostly from the Lorna Lieberman collection, who just really had such an incredible eye for these. We've sold Lorna's collection several years ago when she retired to Kansas City to be with her family, and she kept some of her very favorites. And I have to admit, like a lot of collectors, couldn't help bidding on a few things after that, but that's a different story. Great person. I loved Lorna. She just had such an eye. And these were some of her favorites that she kept. I have two of them here. It's absolutely incredible that she had two of these, because you never find this. These are the only ones I have ever seen. I think she bought this one from us in a very early auction, and always kept it all these years. But these were French, and I want you to look at the way they're made, see the side profile, very, very high pushed up chests, designed to wear the costumes of the 1830s. And while they're turned to the side, look at the sides of their head. Look at their little painted ringlet curls coming down. Very, very stylized, absolutely incredible. They have, one is a brown-haired, one is a black-haired. Both have the completely original painting. They have the sculpted curls at the top of the head. And the brown-haired one even retains little tendrils of curls at the back with the beading coming down from it. And when I turn them around so you can see their face, you're going to see that they both have the original painted hair comb, beaded hair comb at the crown. Wonderful. Have the original painting on the face. This one has a little repair on the kid body, but otherwise they are all completely original and in just wonderful, wonderful condition. early French papier-mâché about 1830. And we have two other examples that we attribute to the workshops of Andreas Voigt. Andreas Voigt was actually German, and he moved to France because he wanted to make what he considered a more refined doll, and he felt that he was able to find a market for, or a buyer for, in Germany. So he moved to France and started his workshop where he made these elegant ladies with their very elongated necks and their kind of almost haughty faces, certainly aristocratic looking faces. And they were affixed to the original of the French kid poupée bodies. And so that's when the French market started to develop. And this doll, as I'm turning her around, I want you to look at her hair. Oh, it's so fabulous. Original hair with big, let me see, 1, 2, it looks like 4 strands, 4 braids wide, looped braided curls at the sides, deeply looping down, and then the braided chignon at the back. It's absolutely fabulous. The body is so firm and perfect. And she even has, which is I think absolutely great, look at her hands. She has stitched on original gloves. Really, really fine. And she's just a beautiful doll in every way. The costume is amazing, just amazing. And we have on this side another one from Andreas Voigt, and this is the bride. And she's quite lovely also. She has a very sweet, and look at her face, by the way. I've got this focus on smiling this time. Little hint of a smiling expression on her face. I think that's another theme somebody could go into. Go and try to find dolls, every doll you can, that has a smiling face. And, different kinds of smiles. They don't have to be wide beaming ones. There's a Gebrüder Heubach in this auction that has a wild smile. But I don't mean that. I mean just a tentative one. Look at that costume. All original, totally. Body is very, very firm, kid. It is gusset jointed at the hips and I think at the knees. And then let me show you the top of her head. Very gorgeous doll. So those are 4 early papier-mâché poupées, French papier-mâché poupées that I would say would be, except for the French wooden, the predecessor of their incredible bisque and porcelain poupée industry. But here's another one I want to show you. This is from the bisque period, and I didn't show it to you before because this has a very distinctive body. This has an American body, but it's an original body. This is the body made by Lachman with the hands that almost appear to be porcelain, but they're actually a glazed papier-mâché that looks like porcelain. It's a muslin stitch-jointed body. It's original. And there have been other dolls that have been found. I'm not going to say many, many, but occasionally you will find an early poupée. We've even found a portrait poupée by Pierre-François Jumeau that have this Lachman body on them. And the theory is that the heads were exported to America, but the kid had extra customs duties on it. So it was easier just to ship the head, and then the bodies were put on here because there was a doll body industry that was starting to be created here. And this is a very beautiful doll. I love her. I love her wig. Look at the snood with the built-in ribbons, with the green ribbons that are intertwined in it. I'll show you the top of her head so you can see it too. And then the costume. You've heard me talk. You know how I feel. You can't have too much soutache in your life. This is absolutely a gorgeous, gorgeous costume with the matching jacket to the skirt, the blouse underneath, and again with the green theme that matches the snood in her hair. And please look at her face, ladies and gentlemen. And what are you seeing? Oh, look, a little smile. Once again, a hint of a smile. She's a swivel head, This is a beautiful, beautiful early poupée, but a variation from the classic kid-bodied or wooden-bodied poupée. Well, not only were the Germans making lady dolls, the French, but the Germans were busy making a series of sculpted hair bisque dolls as well. And I have a very beautiful example to show you here. And this one falls in the category of something I'm going to end this seminar or this series of talks with today, which are called, the series I want to start calling Let's Talk About It. And we're going to discuss how issues with the doll's condition could affect your bidding on it, whether you would bid or what you would bid. And when I saw this doll, I said, oh, this is an incredible doll. This doll could be on the cover of the catalog. It's so beautiful, so rare, such an extraordinary condition, costume, everything about it, all of the features of it. It's just perfect. In fact, even a blue ribbon winner in 1987 in Boston at UFDC. Okay. So we turn it around, and then we start examining, and we see the Dresden flowers have, modeling at the top of the head, have had some restoration work on them. So I ask you, do you care? Do you care? A, it's very, very typical on these dolls. B, it's beautifully done. And C, the doll is such a winner. Everything about her, her rarity, I haven't seen this model before, her beauty, the quality of the construction, the painting, the original painting on it, the costume. You have to ask yourself, do you care? That's what my point is all about. There's no right answer. There's only your personal decision, whether it matters to you or not. Me, this doll is a winner as far as I'm concerned. She could live in my home. I love her. And then one other little one to show you. These are the times, and I always say to people, you're glad I'm not bidding against you. I just get to love her while she's here. Look at this little girl. If you look at this face, you immediately, and you know the early Simon Halbig face, you look at it and you immediately know, oh, Simon and Halbig. The doll is not marked, but you know that's what she is. And she has her original nun's costume. She has a wonderful original body, see the little hands. She has her rosary. This is to me, just a really nice little German fashion lady done about the 1880 period, and I just wanted to share her with you.